Shan and Tam fam, welcome to the Real Talk podcast. On this podcast, we talk about real issues. We talk about parenting, love, family, friendships, and everything in between.
It is our hope that you will journey with us through some critical conversations. We would like for you to drop us a comment, to share the conversation, and to let us know what you would like to see us talk about on Real Talk.
Shan and Tam fam, we are here again with another episode and another very special guest. Today we have Yvonne Reid, and she is what we call a well-rounded woman. She came to Canada holding on to specific instruction from her father, she says. His instructions were get a good education, get a good job, a good husband, and raise a good family. And guess what, fam? Yvonne followed his instructions to the letter. However, she found out that when the dreams are not yours, things tend to fall apart. And she soon realized that the corporate world did not take kindly to her core value of family, and she became jobless. So what did Yvonne do? She embraced her purpose in life. She's now impacting, elevating, and serving her community, especially women and youth. And we say welcome to Yvonne today to Real Talk.
Yvonne, right? You're such a well-rounded woman, and Tam and I are so happy that you decided to connect with us today, and to talk about this very important topic of women wearing many hats. So I wanted to hear from you, Yvonne. Can you please tell us about your own lived experience with wearing many hats, and what does that mean for you?
When this topic came about women wearing many hats, I reflect back on it and realize that, I have been wearing so many hats since I was a child. And I didn't realize that.
Yes.
I think my son had asked me the question when my older son had asked me when my younger son graduated from high school. He said to me, "Mom, who are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean who I am? I'm your mother." "You forgot." He goes, "No, I don't mean that." He says, "Who are you?"
Yes.
He said, "You've been a sister. You've been a girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
You've been a wife. You're a divorcee. You've been a mother.
Yes.
You've been a friend.
Everything.
You've been a teacher."
Yeah.
But now that Tyler is grown up, who are you? You've been doing this dance for so long. Now I don't know who you are, because you don't have to be a mother to us anymore. We're grown. The mother in the sense that taking care of everything.
Right.
Yes.
You don't have to play nice to my dad anymore because he wasn't that nice to me.
Yes, you can be yourself.
You can.
Because I know you were being nice because you wanted to keep the peace for us. You don't have to do that anymore. And so, you know what? I actually sat down and started to think, who am I?
That's a very powerful question, eh? I think not one that a lot of us really
sit down to reflect on.
Who am I? Or to even think about asking yourself that.
Yeah, because we're so busy in the hustle and bustle of everything that you spoke about, right, Yvonne? You don't even get that opportunity to say, who am I?
I was a taxi driver, my sons play soccer, and I would, come in from work, get them and go drive to soccer. And then I would get a call from a parent, "Hey, I can't take my child to soccer. Can you swing by and pick up my child?" Yeah, I was that Uber driver, man. I'm swinging by, picking up another child and dropping the soccer and drop them off. And they'll be like, "Okay, we're hungry." Okay, I'm the Uber driver. I go to buy food and come back to the soccer game and making sure that not just my child got fed, but other children got fed. And that Uber mom that dropped children off, then bring my children home.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was that person.
What does it feel like when you're in the midst of doing all that? Are you even conscious of the fact that you are wearing those many hats and you're being so much to so many different people?
No, I am not conscious that I'm doing it. I am just at the point where this needs to be done.
And
At
you're
one
just running
point,
with it.
I felt like I was a mom, I was a dad. People used to call me and say, Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
And now I said, don't do that. I'm not their father. I'm their mother. But they say, yeah, but you've been doing it so long by yourself. Like you've been mother and father and everything else, you've been their coach. When my sons were playing soccer and basketball and they weren't doing that well, I'm like, yeah, you get the basketball. We're going to go practice. You get the soccer ball. We're going to go. I became the coach, but
You
I don't
became everything.
you know what? You don't think about it then. What you do is, it's almost like your child is in a burning building. Are you going to think about, oh, I don't know if I can go inside the building, it's burning down? You'd be like, I got to go rescue.
Yeah.
So many times I became that rescue ranger, not thinking about what it's doing to me.
Yes.
But what I needed to get done because of what my children need to be safe.
Yeah. And there is something you said about to back up a little bit about even people wishing you happy Father's Day, because I feel like that almost becomes a default when you have moms being single parents, right? And they feel like you have to be everything to this child. And in some respects that may be so, but then there are certain roles like the dad role, the father role, that, I think I've heard you say before, you can't be a father to the child as a woman, right? Talk to us a little bit about that thinking.
The first time somebody wished me happy Father's Day, I chuckled and thought it was a joke. But then afterwards, I reflect back and realize that I cannot be my children's father. I'm not a father. I'm a mother. And there are certain things that you learn from your father or a man that I don't believe any woman, any female can fulfill that role. And so I ask people not to give me that hat. Because I did not want to play that anymore. I don't want to play at what I do. I want to do what I do well. I am a great mother, but I'm not a great
You're
father.
not a father.
Right.
And
Very interesting. Love that thought.
So what I did was I started to make sure, look for positive men in my community.
Right.
And, like I remember asking this guy at one point, I said, I'm not trying to date you. I'm not trying to be with you.
Just let's put it out there.
Yeah.
But I think you are a very positive person. I think you are a great contribution to our Black community. And so would it be okay every once in a while, hey, my son is playing soccer, come out and watch him play, and maybe just say to him, great game, guy. Like he needs to hear that from a man.
From another
give him
positive
some words
Black male.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Some words of
yes.
encouragement. Yeah.
Yeah, that encouragement. And sometimes, he might feel that he didn't do a good job playing soccer. Can you just talk to him? And he said, yeah, I could do that. He said, no one has ever asked me that before. And I said, well, I can't be all.
Yeah, you can. And it's important for you to recognize that.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a strong mother, but you're not a man. Right? And that is okay. And it's important because I too hold this belief to have positive men around your children, especially if they don't have that ongoing presence of a male figure in the home.
Yeah.
So that's definitely powerful. And I'm glad for you to share that for other women, especially single mothers who are out there that's hearing this, to say, you know what, it's okay to say, listen, I'm a strong woman, but I can't do certain things as a man. And that's why I surround my children with positive male figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Somebody said that to me very recently. Oh, Yvonne, you're a strong Black woman. I said, no, I'm not. Because if you ask me to pick up a couch, trust me, it's not going to happen. Okay? Well, here's what I am. I'm a
Mhm.
competent Black woman.
Mhm.
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 And
Mhm.
so a competent Black woman knows when to ask for help.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Okay.
what I was thinking as
That
you
shows
said
your
that.
strength.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it,
Confident. And I said, I'm also very confident knowing that this is my lane
right.
and I'll
Mhm.
do well in my lane, but I'm not going to step out of my lane because that means I don't want to play that cocky game because
Yes.
that cocky game is not going to benefit me or benefit anybody around me. So don't call me a strong Black woman. Call
Mhm.
me a competent,
Competent.
confident Black woman.
I
I
love
like that.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
I
Mhm.
love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, we talk about this a lot, Shan and I,
Mhm.
how busy we are and you know how many things we have to do, and people often ask us, where do you find the time to do all of this?
Mhm.
But I feel like we do find the time. We make the time because of how these things make us feel,
Yes.
right? How it contributes to our mental health and well-being overall. And
Mhm.
so I'm asking from your perspective for women out there who are coming to the realization that, you know, I have these many roles to play and I'm so much to so many people. And how do I juggle all of this? Or they may be feeling burned out or on the brink of burning out. What advice would you give to them?
Put the mask on yourself first. Always
Mhm.
remember that.
Mhm.
Always remember that self-care is not selfish. I used to work a full-time job, come home, as I said, drive my children to whatever they were doing and pick up other people's children and, drop them off, drop them back at home. And sometimes I wouldn't hit my bed until like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I'm up at 6 and I
Wow.
start all over again.
Right.
And I would be
Mhm.
going like 7 days a week. And then, at some point in time, I realized that I was always tired.
Yes.
And the only time I felt like I was really alive was when somebody asked me for help when I do it. And I asked myself, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because you have to, because you want
Mm.
to,
Mhm.
because you need to? Why are you doing that? You know?
Mhm.
And I remember a couple of years ago, I heard Oprah did a speech that, some of us have this disease to please.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. That's
And
interesting.
she went through a couple things, and I'm like, damn, I got that disease.
Yeah.
I need to cure this. Like, why do I have a disease to please? Why do I
Mhm.
have to do all for everyone? And again, and sometimes when you start thinking about what you need to do to make yourself whole and make yourself better, the universe just opens up and starts giving you some nuggets. And somebody
Mhm.
asked me to be on a capacity workshop, and I'm like, what's a capacity workshop?
Tell us
And
Mm.
she
more.
said, why don't you try it? And I was so glad I did. And
Yes.
I learned in the workshop that you can only be optimal if you're working at your capacity. And what
Mhm.
it means is this: if you're doing everything for everyone, everything for yourself, you're not at your capacity. You're heading
Mm.
for burnout.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's real talk.
right.
You're heading for burnout. And
Yeah.
so when you crumble and is in a wheelchair, who's going to push the wheelchair?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I guarantee you a lot of people won't. So I
Mhm.
started actually writing down, you know, what needs to be done and what could be delegated and what can I say no to.
Right.
Here's
Mm.
the thing. Once I start saying no to some things that people ask me to do, they start to drop off. What
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean by that, they no longer see the value in me,
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
right?
started setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries. And it wasn't even setting boundaries, just like, no, I'm not available to do that.
You don't have the
Right.
capacity right now.
I
Yeah.
don't have the capacity right now. And it becomes, why not? You used to do it before. And I said, yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I realize that I have to live from the overflow. So I have to fill myself up, and whatever is overflowing, that goes to you,
I
Yes.
love that you
right?
live from the overflow.
From the
Yes.
overflow.
I love that. And you just reminded me of something that another guest of ours spoke to
Yes,
recently, Miss
Miss
Fabulous,
Fabulous.
who is our friend. She said the givers will always be givers and the takers will always be takers. Like,
Yes.
That's
so
right.
we really have to focus on changing that narrative, because if you allow people to just take, you will always be giving. So I
Mm-hmm.
love
Mm-hmm.
that analogy of living from the overflow.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What are some of the
Definitely.
things that you do to fill that cup?
Well, I started doing a couple things like the 20-20-20.
Okay.
So when I wake up in the morning, I try to get to bed by 12 midnight, the latest. And I'm up by 5:30. And it's 20 minutes of meditation,
Okay.
prayer, and just thinking about how grateful I am to wake up,
That's
you
Mm-hmm.
wonderful.
know, with a clear mind and strong body. And
Mm-hmm.
then I do 20 minutes of exercise.
Oh, wow.
It's like
Okay.
And
get
you do that
yourself,
every day?
oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Sometimes we have step classes that I do with a bunch of girls. If we're not doing step classes, I do yoga.
Okay.
Um, but if not, every day I walk. I walk
Okay.
every day. I work for the school board, and now I try to make sure that I work for school that is close to my area. So I walk to school.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I
That's
walk.
good.
And then I do 20 minutes of reading or journaling. So,
Mm.
writing down stuff, writing down some of the things that really make sense or some of the things that don't make sense, and then try to figure out why it doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
just
that's
write
powerful.
down, like, what do I need to do for the day? Like, like like right now I have a list right beside me today about
you're gonna
what I need
check
to
on.
do. It's like
Yeah.
Easter's coming. Did I get my fish? Um,
You get the bun and cheese. You get your bun and
you know,
cheese.
I know.
just
Easter
important
come.
stuff, right?
Ah,
Um, I also decided that I need to take care of this vessel that God has placed my spirit in, my
right.
body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
every month I look for a spa and I book it. So I
Real
woke
Girl,
up today.
talk.
you
Don't
Yeah,
talking
talk about
our
the
language. Don't
spa.
talk about the spa.
yeah. And so at first I used to be like, I don't have money to do that. But here's the thing. I've actually paid for people's spa before. They said, oh, I need a break. And I'm like, okay, I'll get you a spa date. And I'm like, why are you
Why?
buying a spa
For
date for
somebody
somebody
else.
You
Yeah.
and you
can't do
don't
it
do
for
it
You
for
yourself.
can't, you
me?
feel like you can't
Yeah.
afford it for yourself. Talk.
So
Yeah.
now I do that. And so that's some of the things that I do. I make sure that I try to spend valuable time for me to
Yeah.
take care of
Mhm.
me.
And
And I wasn't doing that.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
now I feel a lot happier that I'm
Yeah.
doing it. And it gives me enough strength and power also to look at a woman and say, I'm going to guarantee you this, okay?
Mhm.
You love your children, but if you go into burnout city, you are no good to your children.
Right.
Yes.
And what are you leaving for them? People talk about legacy. My children now understand the importance of taking care of themselves.
Right.
Mhm.
So as hard as my older son work, you know, one day a week, he's like, I turn off my phone.
Right.
Mm.
It's all
Yeah.
Mhm.
about my young son who is 8 months old and my wife and me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody calls. I don't answer calls. I am not taking care of your problem.
It's just
It's
me.
a
You're just tuning into you and your family.
That's
6
Yeah.
that's
days a week.
very
I'll do everything. And he said, I had to learn that from you. And then I realized that if I wasn't practicing that, then he would not have
He
learned
wouldn't
that
have been
from
able
me.
to model
right.
that.
I think
Yeah.
that's such a very interesting and powerful concept too. The fact that
Mhm.
when we talk about legacies, we usually are talking about money
Money.
and we're
Yeah.
talking about wealth, but there is so much more to this life, right?
Mm-hmm.
and really teaching your children how to value themselves and how to take care of themselves. That really is something
Yeah.
for you to feed into them, for them to take that to say, yeah, this is
Yeah.
something that
And
is
I
a
was I
must,
was
right?
shocked when he said, "Well, I learned that about you. I noticed that you used to work all the time, and then now I can say, hey, I can call you on a Sunday, and know that you can spend hours on the phone,
Yes.
just babbling away with your grandson, and not worried about, oh my gosh, I have to go, I have to do this, I have to do that. You just on
Mm-hmm.
the phone, just babbling away, talking to him. I don't know what you two talk about. He goes, la, 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 la. And you're saying, yeah, and you two are going at it. And he said, wow,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
that's important. So he goes, you might not have a lot of money to give him, but I guarantee you, um, when you talk about love, I think love for you is Time. You
Yes.
spell love with
Mm-hmm.
time. You use the
Time.
time
Yeah.
to spend with him, the time to spend with me. Sometimes I just
Yes.
have to talk to somebody besides my wife about a lot of things that are happening.
Right.
And so I am thankful that I can just call you up and know that you're not going to say, I'm too busy right now, I'll call you back later. I know that on a particular day of the week, you will give me your time.
Because you're available. And that's so important, Yvonne. And I'm glad that you even showed me a different perspective on what legacy means
Yes.
this evening by just talking with you. And I know, Yvonne, we spoke about you earlier with your bio, and you're such a well-rounded individual, right? Um, and you spoke a little bit about being assertive. I know when Tam and I checked in with you earlier this week. Can you speak about a little bit on the importance of being assertive with advocacy as a woman, right, who wear many hats and advocating for your children? What does that mean for you as a Black woman with being assertive with advocacy?
Well, I work in the school system with students who they call special needs. I, I feel like there come a point in time in our lives when we have to speak for the individuals who cannot speak for themselves
Yeah.
until they can speak for themselves. And that
Mm-hmm.
to me is what advocacy is. And, I think I was born this way because I don't like to see injustice.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And sometimes, I know that if I speak up, I'm going to lose friends.
Mm-hmm.
I realize when I speak up, I can get a backlash from people. I know that when I speak up at times, I could be blacklisted. But you know what? I have been taught to do it anyways. It is the right thing to do.
Right.
So I don't know for anyone else, but sometimes you see certain things that's happening and you kind of not want to say anything. And then you go to bed the night and you're like turning and twisting, thinking, I
Yeah.
can't sleep. I wish I had said
That's
something.
something.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I feel so bad that I didn't say anything. And so I have been through too many of those nights.
Okay.
I love my sleep way too much.
Right.
So I feel like it's better for me to advocate for the individuals who cannot speak for themselves until they can speak for themselves than to have a restless night. I tend to do this little chant when I know I'm going into a situation. I tend to say, God be in my head and in my thinking, God be in my mouth and in my speaking, God be in my eyes and in my seeing. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want to always speak on behalf of me, but I want to speak on behalf of my spirit, because I feel like that is what drives us to fill the gap at times when we see a situation and it bothers us.
Yes.
That's our spirit saying you need to fill this gap.
You need to fill it. Yeah.
You need to fill this gap. And when you don't fill that gap, it's like a pothole. If you have a pothole, you don't fill that pothole, guess what? Something is going to go over that pothole, which might be a vehicle, and that vehicle might get damaged.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you don't fill that gap, who's getting damaged?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's going to damage you, and it's going to damage the person who cannot articulate for themselves, whether it be a youth, or be another female, even a male. I've asked women before, please don't bastardize that man. He might have done something you don't like. Can you just say to him, hey, guess what? You did X, Y, and Z, and I didn't appreciate that. When you did this, it made me feel this way. Maybe he doesn't know he's doing it.
Right.
Right? And just say, hey, can we talk about it? Maybe I need to understand what you're going through and why you said that. Right? Because it's not just us that go through the pain. Every single person on the face of this earth, men, women, children, black, white, pink, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Right? I've had people call me the N-word and I'm like, by the way, that's not my name. My name is Yvonne. No, why would you call me this? Did I do something to you? Did I offend you in any way? And they'll say, no, no, no. And sometimes they will say, oh, I just want to get you angry because I'm angry. I'm like, hurt people, hurt people.
Yeah.
And we start talking. Right? We start talking.
Yes.
So it's very important when you advocate for somebody, not just for yourself, but for someone else, to bring them to a place of understanding, to let them know that you don't have to continue being this negative person.
Yeah. And it's interesting you said that, because sometimes when you kill people with love, what am I gonna do? Hate you back, right?
I know.
When I respond to them in a positive way, when they might carry on, it's like, bless you, have a wonderful day.
Shocked.
I
tell that to my son, kill them with love.
Yeah, with kindness.
Right? Kill them with kindness and with love.
My parents, God bless both of their souls. I lost both of them tragically, but I remember they used to say to me, you get more with honey than you get with salt.
Yes.
And I was salty. I'm like, men are like salt. They want my honey.
They want the sugar.
So we would give them the salt and we would take the honey. But I understand now.
Yes.
I've walked into schools where I know people, teachers or whomever, don't like me. And I'm like, good morning. And nobody answers me. And I still do it. And then when I'm leaving, I said, have a good evening. Bye.
Yes. Give them the honey.
And I had one teacher that said, I walk with a coffee mug, the one, you drink with your tea. And I had one teacher one day walked over, snatched the mug away from me, opened it and said, I want to know what you're drinking. I think that is tea in your cup.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're drinking. And I'm like, it's tea. She says, no, because every morning you say good morning to me. I don't say good morning to you. And you still say good morning to me every morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to know what's in this cup.
And you see what that did? It turned right back around where she came to you. She had to humble herself, come to you to try to figure out what's going on here.
To her, I said, I would not let you change my character.
Exactly.
Yes.
You want to say good morning to me? That is your character.
Snaps.
This is my
I love
character.
it.
I love
I
it.
want that to change my character.
Yes.
Don't let somebody change your character.
We're going to give them honey and not the salt. Yvonne, this
we
was
could talk
amazing.
To you all day.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yes, that is my thing for today. Listeners, we could talk to Yvonne all day. As I said, she is such a well-rounded woman, and we're just honored to have her here with us. So let us know what you think about this episode about women wearing many hats. Be sure to share, like, subscribe. You can follow us on our YouTube page and Shan and Tam, and also just to share the podcast. Let us know if anything that you want us to talk about, and drop us a like and let us know about this episode with Yvonne Reid. Tam, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, just thanks again, Yvonne. We'll have you back another time because I know there's so much more nuggets there for you to release on us. My big takeaway from today as well, leaving that legacy that doesn't necessarily have to do with financial stuff, but think about the legacy that you're leaving for those whom you love. Children, everybody else included, right? So
And
there's
I'll
so
just
much more.
encourage anyone out there that's listening. I want you to list the hats that you're wearing. All right. And when you
Yeah.
list the hats that you're wearing for a woman, are you wearing the hat of a mom, a divorcee, and I don't say single mom, one income mom, especially if the man is still alive, you're not a single mom. He's still
One
around,
income.
right?
I love that. One
One
income,
income.
man.
Are you wearing a hat of being whatever, the doctor, the driver, the getaway car driver, whatever? List the hats that you're wearing and ask yourself, which one am I not wearing effectively? And if you're not wearing that hat effectively, do me a favor, delegate it.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your words of wisdom. And we will talk to you again another time. I'm positive we have to have you back on. And
right.
thanks again, fam, for listening. We will catch you again next week for another new episode of Real Talk with Shan and Tam. Until then, take care and walk good.
Don't forget to visit Shan and Tam on all their social media websites. At Sisters Shan and Tam on Instagram, Shan Tam Lodge-Lee on Facebook, and check out their blogs at shanandtam.blogspot.com. Tune in again next time on Real Talk.